Scott, every once in a while, there's a game that takes the space by storm. The anticipation level is super high. And this week, finally, I get to talk about my time with Starfield. I'm the one from the team who's been hands-on for Starfield. Everybody else is kind of waiting to play. We'll be getting a little bit further into that later on. But dude, the anticipation behind this, everybody's over it, right? Everybody wants to get on there. The questions are everywhere. Leaks, all kinds of stuff. We're approaching this review a little bit differently. Normally we have two hands on when it comes to our reviews. This time around, it's just me. I pulled Scott in because Scott, I want to tell you about my experience, but I also know you have a ton of questions to ask along the way. So let's dive in and break it down. Here's what I've started with. Everybody knows the premise to Starfield, right? You get in there, you join the Constellation because you found an artifact. And that artifact is some alien tech that has multiple pieces to it, and you're gonna go out there with the Constellation and discover the meaning of life. That's basically about it. On a very small scale of this game, dude. Here's where I'm at. I set up my character, I touched the artifact. This is where you get handed the tablet. We've all seen it in the trailer, right? Now you build out your character. From there, you go in, you pick your background. I picked my background. I made so many notes. This is insane. I went with the cyber runner side of things, which then gave me starting skills in the world of stealth, which, granted, I'm a big stealth fan, right? We'll talk about that. Security, which then takes me into hacking and things like that, and theft. I'm like, yo, this is my run right here, right? Like this is made for me.
Is that Adam Jensen?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So I'm right into that. And then you get your traits. So I went with an introvert, so I'm kind of a bit of a loner when it comes to playing, which is funny because I've had a companion with me almost from the very beginning of the game. It hasn't really worked out well for me. Yeah, a neon street rat, so I came from like the lower level and worked my way into this crowd, and then a taskmaster. When I was handed the tablet, Scott, I created my character. Bethesda's touched on how much is in here, right? I spent, by the time I picked my traits, picked my background, customized my character to make Kalani my character, I was an hour and a half into the game.
Oh, wow.
An hour and a half in just on customizing my character, making sure that I built and designed the character that I wanted to craft to go out into the world of Starfield. We got our press release, and within it, it said, now granted, we don't normally talk about this too much, but in it, it said, dude, take your time and just enjoy, right? A lot of games on the show, what we do is we beeline the story. We go in, we dive into the story and finish it off so we know what the ending's like and then move forward. Here I am with Starfield. This is not what I wanted to do in this case, right? Because the way Starfield is set up, it is meant to explore. You are meant to go out and see what the world offers. Here's my time. Right now, I'm level 20. I have not finished the game at all. In fact, I am 3 main story missions in. And I've played for 60 hours, Scott. So,
a bit of a slow burn, that one.
Right? I barely touched the main campaign, but I fell down a rabbit hole of faction quests, side quests, and activities. This is basically the main premise. You have the main, the factions, the miscellaneous, which is like your side quests, and then these activities. The activities are like, you have like 10, 15 minutes, jump in, go do an activity. Maybe you have to go talk to somebody. Maybe you have to go visit, like I had to go to Planet Earth and then grab something over in London. Grab that and take off. That was it, right? Activities are meant to be really kind of just short bursts. The main campaign takes you on a whole journey, obviously. The faction quest, I fell down a hole, Scott, when it came to playing this, because what happened was I'm running around New Atlantis, and if you know a Bethesda game, stealing is an option, but it's not warranted if you get caught. Oh, I got caught. So, but this setup, I was in a restaurant. I go over, and I'm like, oh, there's some food here. Nobody's around. Snatch the food. Somebody saw me. Instantly, I got caught. I got hauled off to jail. From here, I got set up to either pay my fee or work with this organization to be a mole within another organization. And I was like, yo, I'm a mole. Let's go. So I fall into this rabbit hole of faction quests, dude. 50 hours go by as I'm doing the faction missions for the Crimson Fleet. That's where it was. That's where I am. And I'm telling you, what a journey. The faction quests alone could have been its own game, Scott. That's how big that was, right? Like it was incredible to be a part of that experience. And this is what Starfield offers the best, is opportunities, right? You have the main game, which I said, I'm 3rd mission in. But then I fell down this rabbit hole of other things. And as I'm going in to do these missions for the faction quest, I'm in like the dude, I went to Neon. So here I am making my return to my homeland, more or less, with the Neon Street Rat trait. And as I'm walking through there, I'm picking up on conversations. And as conversations pop up, all of a sudden new quests start popping up. Well, maybe you should go check out so-and-so because they overheard this. And it just sets you up further on to continue on with other options that just take you off your main objective for that opportunity. Starfield has been an incredible journey. I am far from finished, as I said. There's a lot still to do. There's other factions I have yet to even interact with. And then the solar system is vast, it is massive, but it's not without its problems, Scott.
Oh, I have a question about the interaction with your time in the street.
Yeah.
Does anybody treat you differently because you're a Neon Street Rat, or some of your skills that got you, well, clearly not so gifted in stealth or theft, that is, but did that have an influence on who talked to you within that jail? I'm wondering if you're a rough and tumble kind of guy, is that going to be a different outcome than if I was the pencil neck kind of casual?
No, so I didn't see that experience per se, but what I did have was because I joined the Crewmate Fleet, as I'm out there and I'm talking to someone for information, they weren't giving me the information. And I have my persuade up there, right? So I focused on within getting into the skill tree itself. Skill tree is massive. Dude, I'm still on level 1, and you have to unlock each level to then drop to the next tier and to the next tier. So I've started on to level 2. That's what I said. 60 hours in, I'm just opening up tier 2 within the skill tree, because when you unlock one skill, there is then 4 other levels within that skill. So there's a lot to kind of unpack. So I've focused heavily into my persuasion opportunities there and the social side of stuff. So as I'm working on persuading this contact who's not giving me the information that I'm after, I said, well, give it to me because I'm part of the Crewmate Fleet. And then her whole demeanor changed. And all of a sudden she's like, whoa, because Crewmate Fleet is pirates. We are the pirates, dude. I am the wrong side of the law now, and I'm having a blast doing it. I have this over sense of power, in a sense, going into these conversations going, if you don't like it, I'm telling you who I work with, and if you don't like that, now you're just dead, right? Because they get that fear. They are known across the galaxy as one of the pirates not to mess with, which has then opened up other opportunities, because as you go out and explore, you come across these abandoned outposts. Dude, I came into one outpost, and one was full of these like crab-like creatures that wiped out all the scientists around. I'm like, this is a whole farming situation here, and you're just going to explore to find what you can, you know, come across, loot everything. I mean, like, dude, if you could pick it up, because you can then sell it. And this is where I'm currently sitting at like almost 500,000 credits. If you don't have cash, they call it credits within the game. It's like an online currency in a sense. So as I'm going through the world, I'm literally picking up everything. Granted, there's a weight issue as well, right? There is this.
Yeah, that is.
Encumbered.
Welcome to a Bethesda game.
Yeah.
Every Bethesda game I've ever played, I carry all the cups and forks and spoons until I get to a high level, but that's just the way it is. I'm wondering now, because you're faced with the options of being a pirate, kind of loops into the more social questions I have. Is there a good, bad kind of charisma level, is what it would be called in Fallout? There's things that are objectively bad. If you're a murderer, for example, people will generally take you differently, and that's what I'm very curious of.
Yeah, there's no bar, right? Like there's no bar to say which side of you're on at all. It is more of a, with my companion as an example, because I went with the Crewmate Fleet, she actually pulled me aside and said, hey, I don't approve of this. I don't like this at all, but because we're working together to get the artifact, I'm gonna stick around. But she definitely does not like my decisions, and I thought that kind of played in a little bit. You'll see little things pop up in the corner. So and so didn't approve of this, so and so didn't approve of that, right? So you have those little things, but there is no meter that you're kind of going, okay, what side am I on right now? It is more of a, here's my direction, and we'll see what the consequences arise from this. So when I went on my final destination, and she came out and pulled me aside and said, I don't approve. Man, she was mad. Like, you could actually see it in her face too, that she was, it Dude, it was, here I am, I'm on a moon, and she goes, I need to talk to you. I'm like, all right, let's see what this is about. And she goes, I don't approve of this. And she just kind of laid into me a little bit. I was like, I kind of laughed because this is really cool, is it, to experience that she is not happy. We've seen in other games, right, where you get choices of morality play into effect and how that kind of comes across. But this was more, it felt more realistic to say that, hey, I just didn't like your decision to do this. And then later on, as I'm shooting down like essentially what the good guys are, she pipes up again. Dude, she's not happy with me right now. I'm telling you. I don't know if I'll be able to persuade her to come around at all, but, or if I just do some other good things. Now, I've done other good things in the past too within the game. When you go from system to system, so basically what happens is you have a moon or a planet, but you go to that planet's system, and then that opens up a bunch of other planets. Here's the problem. This is not, Starfield is not No Man's Sky, right? It is not that. There is, in No Man's Sky, you jump into your ship and you fly away. You can fly over the planet, then you fly out in the system, and you fly into another planet. Starfield is littered with load screens. Yeah, this is where I was dude, I was surprised. I was very surprised. You cannot fly around the planet. You literally hop in your ship. You say you want to go to another space. You go to another system, which goes to a cutscene. First of all, to get into your ship is a cutscene. Dude, I can't open the door and just walk in. I open the door, it goes to a cutscene, then I go into my ship, then I go select what system I want to go to next, or a planet. Then I basically go to another cutscene, go into that system, and then select a planet, go where I want to land, go to another cutscene that lands me, and then I can get out of it, which then goes to another, like, dude, it's just cutscene. I was like, oh.
So that sounds more like a menu system for a fast travel system, not
Absolutely.
just getting into an airplane and taking off.
No, it is. That's exactly what it is. But there are moments, though, that because these planets are so big, I would have loved to have been able to fly around the planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would have been very, very nice to have that. There are other issues with the game. As much as I love everything I'm experiencing, there are definitely some other problems. Combat is a problem. Stealth is a problem. Dude, stealth? This isn't... I'm walking around with a shotgun most of the time. But even though I'm focusing on stealth and I'm trying to play that way, you can crouch, but that's basically about it. They give you other pathways around your objective, but where I've been so far is just this giant vent that you can literally stand in, go through it, pop out the other side to go up a staircase. I'm just walking around the people. This is basically kind of how I've seen it so far as my 60-hour experience. You have in your skill tree, you unlock a skill, and then you need to upgrade that skill. So then I gotta take out so many people as a stealth player in that genre to get up to that next skill unlock, right? I have to do that 5 times. Sneak up behind someone, take him out. The problem is, man, when you take it, there isn't an option to do like a stealth kill. That would have been perfect. Nothing. You just walk up and you stab them with your knife. So you're like this, and I'm like, they just turn around and start shooting me. And I've taken out a couple people stealthily, but it hasn't been easy. And then when you get into the gunplay, now granted, I have not focused on my guns when it comes to the skill tree because I've gone very heavy on the social side, and I've gone with the stealth stuff and some security things where I help the dude. I have cracked so many locks, and now I've already gone to the master and the expert level that I focused heavily on that because there's a ton of loot in there, and I want that loot, and I want access to some of these doors, these rooms, and the security systems, and then to get into that stuff. There's just so much to unravel, so much to unpack. But the gameplay for the gun is weak. It really is rather weak. They could, once I start upgrading, I'm sure it's going to feel a little bit better. There is no cover system, Scott. So,
oh, okay.
Dude, as I'm shrunk down behind this railing, my assault rifle is picking off the railing and not shooting the targets who are hitting me in the head from the other side.
No.
Right? So all of a sudden, I'm dead. I look to my left, my companion is hugged into the corner of the wall. I'm like, how do they get cover? But here I am, wide open. The only way I can shoot people across the room is to actually stand up. And it's just like...
Well, thinking about stealth, and I joke about Adam Jensen being your character, but
Yeah.
Which is just not true. But is there melee weapons that would maybe accompany the stealth better?
So there is a knife, right? You can bring a knife with you. I've got a shiv, more or less, or I can get right in with a knife. or I can get into a katana. So I have a big sword, and I'm hacking up things like this, that, and the other. But when you're trying to play stealth, dude, I just want to be able to like chokehold, take him out, sleep him. Like maybe I don't have to kill anybody at all, right? And or go up and then just a simple prompt of a button to take somebody else in a stealth essence and slit their throat, kill them out, shiv them aside, whatever you got to do your stealth kill to be able to move on would be good. And then to take the character away, hide the body, right? There's none of that. Like stealth almost feels like an afterthought.
Oh, that is a little bit disappointing for myself. Of course, I haven't gotten into it yet to see it from my own eyes, but I really like stealth. That's no secret.
No, absolutely. We talk about Bethesda a lot on the show, and we talk about how we always worry about the Bethesda jank.
Oh, yeah.
Scott, welcome to another Bethesda game. So, here's the other issue. Dude, I am pretty early into the game, maybe an hour and a half into the game, and you meet the Constellation. You get set up, you're at their home of operation, the HQ, what they call the lodge. You get a room within the lodge. I go to my room. I open up the door. The door glitches me, like shimmers, shakes, and pushes me into a corner that I can no longer get out of. And I'm stuck in a corner behind a door, and this, I'm pretty sure it was like an end table or something, and I couldn't even move. There's been numerous times I've been caught on stuff, stuck in a wall, and I was just like, how, at this stage of the game, does a door become the biggest glitch in the game? And it's a little irritating to try and get through. Granted, man, not every door is like that. Some doors open to the side and they just kind of like vacuum away kind of thing. It's actually some pretty cool stuff in here. At the end of the day though, Scott, when it comes to the final product of Starfield, I think people are going to be blown away. Granted, you know what you're getting into when you get into a Bethesda game, and I've seen a lot of stuff online talk about the jank and stuff. Man, I've experienced a lot of glitches. I shot somebody, their gun flew across the space and just twirled this whole time. And it just flies. I'm like, where is that going? I go to pick up loot, I hover over top of a body. You know, I'm just like, man, there's so many little things that just kind of take you out of the experience that could have been not there at all, which you don't experience in other games, I guess is really what it comes down to, right? I get the sheer scope of the game, and I appreciate what it is, but there's just some elements to it that just the stealth alone doesn't work. The combat isn't the greatest, but when you get into the social side where I'm really focused on, dude, I talked myself out of some incredible situations, walked away from the fight, got what I needed, and be able to move on to the next one, or persuade people into giving me the information that I needed, or I've helped people in the past on stuff, didn't ask for a reward, just kind of went on my way. I jumped from one system into the next system, dude, they're there. And they're like, oh my God, who's this? Oh, no, it's okay. Don't worry about them. They helped us in the past. Let's just move on.
I really like that.
Oh, so cool. The opportunities that keep popping up. The more and more I play, other opportunities keep popping up that take me away from the story because they're so interesting that I want to know what else is going on.
Well, that kind of brings up a topic of how do you spend your time? If I was going to be on the game, if I was going to be on the game after work, we'll say, I have 3 or 4 hours maybe before bed. Is there a sensible way of getting into this game, or am I just jumping into the ocean?
It really depends on what kind of mood you're in, because sometimes I sat down and was like, let's just see where today takes me. Right? Because there is that. You just don't know. You don't have you can do the main quest and follow that if you want, or just start going into the world and see what presents itself as opportunities. You can focus on it. Yeah, dude, it's so cool to play that way, right? That was one of the things when they said, slow down and play the game, right? Don't beeline the story. And that's obviously not what I did at all. 60 hours in, barely touched the story. Even though I'm intrigued by the story, I think the voice acting is cool and everything moves forward. But when you get back to your question, Scott, it is a matter of what do you want to do? You can craft your ship. Figuring that out took me a little bit. I find some of the setup into understanding these mechanics could have been explained a little bit more, right? Because I came across one mission where I had to attach something to my ship and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. Reached out for a bit of help, got the help I needed. They're like, Drew, you actually need to take your cursor off the ship. And I was like, oh, because when you come in the menu, it actually starts on your ship. So as I was selecting to upgrade and change out this, that, and the other, if I would have been off my ship and more in like the blue area outside of it, it would have presented me with everything else to add in. I was like, man, oh man. And all of a sudden now, like, dude, there's missile launchers, there's guns, there's cockpits to adjust, there's so many things to get into the crafting, which again, Bethesda has also stated that was much more of a later state within the game, but I'm still in there intrigued enough that, dude, there isn't a ship I own. I've owned 4 ships. I'm ready to sell one because I don't like it. But I'm changing out the colors. I'm making it feel like my ship, what my needs are, and getting into that. And it is so cool. The depth of complexity that you can get into, or you don't have to do anything at all. You just take your ship and away you go, right? It's one of those opportunities are there. But there's the ships. Dude, there's outposts. I jumped in. I'm starting to build my crew up for an outpost now. But what I found is I'm short material, so now I'm crafting, looking for stuff, looking for material. I'm going to other systems because the other systems have the material I need. Then I come back, start building and crafting in that. Like, there's just little pockets that will keep you going for hours. Or again, that's why I said activities are there that if you only have a few minutes, go do an activity, get some XP, and then find out what that experience is like. And then the next thing you know, you're like 5-6 hours deep and it's all over.
So you haven't exactly made a Frankenstein ship by the sounds of it. Is there, I'm thinking aesthetically, is there any sort of customized icons that you can make yourself? Paint up the ship however you prefer? Or is it more of just a color scheme?
It's more right now of a color scheme that I've gone with. I haven't seen any like decals in the game so far, but you can definitely swap out different designs on a lot of the items in there. I'm swapping out missiles and kind of how those guns are set up. I'm adding things to my starship. I'm changing out the cockpit in certain areas, changing out the grab drive and all this jump stuff and all the engines. But there's like a base fundamental. Dude, there's a lot under the hood when it gets into the crafting the ship that are gonna take people a long time, I think, to get into and to understand. There's a lot to unpack. It is very cool, but again, if you don't want to, then you just take the ship and away you go.
Being a massive Fallout fan, part of my big concern is the social ramifications of the game. And it seems like you've explained a lot of it, but I'm wondering if there's crew members that you can pick. Is it a select roster that you can only make so many choices, or is it something where I can, if I find an NPC, can I make them my crew member? And further to that, kind of the same question in the same vein is, you've made your crew member very angry with you, your squad mate.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's any romance options. Mass Effect comes to mind.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, quickly on the romance option, there's definitely romance opportunities until I really made my crewmate mad. I think I pretty well squandered that idea now with her, so that's not going to happen. But there is opportunities there, and you see that presented. Like the flirt option comes up, right? So you're able to interact that way and grow these relationships a little bit further. I've just taken that relationship and made her really mad, so that's not going to happen. When it comes to the actual crewmates, you sign them up. Like they present you with options of, hey, you know what, I'm now no longer going to be doing this, I'm looking for opportunities. Then you present it with, you can then add that person to your crew. Granted, I've only started to do this 60 hours in. I'm just starting to build a crew. I've had Sarah Morgan right from the very beginning. That's the woman we all saw in the trailer. That's the woman you meet at Constellation in the lodge, and then I've decided to take her along with me. She's been helpful, but at another time she's been a bit of a problem. She constantly reminds me of how much loot I have. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. So here's a quick tip. If you have all that loot and you're weighed down, just dump it in your ship. Like, there's a cargo space, but your cargo space only holds so much. From there, literally just drop it on the floor and then go back to a base and sell it. Pick it all back up and then just go to the vendor and sell it all. And that will help you get some, increase that cash flow a lot more. Build up your credits, is what I was trying to say. And that'll
Can your crewmates carry things for you as well?
They can, but they're limited as well, right? So all of a sudden, because I literally go out in the world and I try to start off with as little as possible and then just grab everything along my path and then dump it off to whoever wants to kind of help me out and take it. And then when I get back to the ship, because I'm slowed down, as you progress, your meter just kind of, your stamina meter depletes really quickly, and then your vision gets blurry because you're holding too much, right? Something we see in a lot of games like this. And then that's what I mean, just dump it on the ground. But yeah, when it comes... Go ahead.
That brings up another question, actually. Given Fallout, the way they handle things, is there substance, perhaps substance abuse? But I'm thinking of alcohol that you can drink, and because of the blurry vision, that's what made me think of it.
I haven't seen anything yet on that. Like, there is a bar I can go to. and hang out there and have some drinks, but I've been too busy doing other things like that. There's a bunch of healing mechanics. The healing, some works, some don't. There you get afflictions with, like, you're burned or you're freezing. So there's other things to help kind of heal that process. So they've taken a lot into your status account as far as what that kind of situation has at that time for your health, and you have certain things that will help kind of heal that quicker than others. So there's some like little touches like that. It's pretty cool to see. But yeah, getting back to the whole your crewmate and who to pick, again, it's just one of those things. I'm just starting to get presented with some of these options and the opportunities of bringing them on. I could have done this a lot sooner if I would have done a little bit more of the story a lot faster, but I've been off in so many other directions. I just haven't seen it come up yet.
Are there alien races that you can pull crewmates from, potentially?
I've seen alien creatures, but not alien races that I've been speaking with.
Oh, okay.
So we will see if that's something that comes out later on. I gotta think that has something to do with the artifact, as that ties in, right? So there's this whole end game, new game plus at the end of Starfield as well, that there's going to be more to discuss, and we will be getting there at one point. It's just, we'll see how much longer my journey has to take before I get there.
So it sounds like you're at about the 60-hour mark, and I bet there's a lot more than 60 left to go. But your journey is perhaps never ending. If you have to score this game at the moment, based on what you've seen, do you think this deserves a high praise? What would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be one of the most incredible experiences we played this year. Starfield set me on a path I never anticipated whatsoever, right? But it's one of those things, slow down and experience the world. I think that's the biggest key to this. You don't have to beeline a story. You just get in there and just set out your path and see what happens. And that's the opportunity Starfield brings, just endless opportunities. This is the game that we'll be playing for years to come and still hearing about stories later on. It is one of those magical moments that we get once in a while in gaming. There is definitely some problems, right? Like what I said, with the gunplay, the stealth mechanic isn't really all that solid, and then some of the usual Bethesda jank that we're used to, getting hooked behind a door. But still, there's so many other things past this that just brought me around. I was like, I'm blown away. The whole faction quest, can't wait to see what else I get into. But I've fallen in love with Starfield. But it's just, man, if my character had a voice, that would have been right up there with everything else. Starfield is incredible, though. People are definitely going to be all over this, and I can't wait to see what everybody else has their experience, what their story unfolds, what you get into, Scott. It's going to be so cool. I'm right there, dude. It's got to be a 9 for me. It's just got to be a couple other little things missing here or there. It needs some tweaking, a little bit more polish, and we could have one heck of a game this year.